What if the secret to looking beautiful isn't just in your skincare routine, but hidden deep in your hormones? This week, I bust some myths about women's health and reveal why beauty starts from the inside out. Tune in as we go beyond the basics, break all the old rules, and discover what's actually making you feel and look your best. Hey friends, it's Natalie here. I'm so excited for today's episode because we're diving into one of my absolute favorite topics, women's health, hormones, and feeling empowered about our wellness. I sat down with Nelly Gall from Live Vibrant Wellness and Aesthetics, and we went deep on all the things we start to notice as we head into our 40s and 50s, chronic fatigue, low energy, that stubborn brain fog, and yes, why our go-to wellness habits sometimes stop working. Nelly brings such practical advice, what to ask your doctor, which tests really matter, and it's more than just basics, ladies, and how to spot the difference between fads and truly supportive wellness routines. We're also going to talk about hormones and their huge role, not just in how we feel, but in how we look, from skin to hair to that inner vibrance. And for those of you curious about natural beauty, we're also going to talk about everything from mushroom supplements to facial massage and building a simple, powerful skincare routine. You'll also hear about Nelly's guide on marrying beauty and health together. This episode is all about reminding you to take charge, ask questions, and make your health a priority. And before you hit play, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And pop over to natalietysdal.com, that's Tysdal, to sign up for my weekly newsletter where I share the latest wellness tips, podcast updates, and inspiration straight to your inbox. Also, don't forget to grab my free gut reset guide because so much of our health starts in our gut. I'm glad you're here and I'm excited about today's episode. Let's get going today with Nelly Gall. Nelly, thank you so much for joining me. We're talking about my favorite topic. I know it's your favorite as well, and that is functional medicine and overall women's health.
Absolutely. I'm super excited. I am a lover of women. I'm a lover of just making women look and feel amazing with themselves and in projecting that into their community, into their families, into their working relationship and personal relationships. So I'm super excited to be here and just talk shop about women's health, hormones, beauty, Botox, whatever is it that we kind of delve into.
Well, there's so much that we can talk about when it comes to women's health, but what's important to me as a health journalist is that women take control of their health,
Yes.
that they understand it and that they don't fall to fads, but that they really learn so that they can feel better and empower themselves.
I totally agree. I am a huge proponent of participation. Without participation, it's just you're following somebody else's opinion and perspective, and you have to develop that perspective for your own, understand your body, understand a little bit of physiology, what changes happen within those decades, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and how to really work with your body, adjusting to the changes in finding what works for you. We're all the universe. We're so different. I mean, just from the environment itself, you can, create very different hormone cocktails in a way. And that's where I specialize. I specialize in really looking at women for where they are, who they are as a person, their journey, and really, personalizing a treatment plan for them based on that, conversation that I have. So it's definitely not cookie cutter. It's definitely not one size fits all. I look at the holistic aspect and also the goals. What are your goals when you go into, your practitioner? There be a functional medicine, there be a beauty practitioner or your general practitioner. What are your goals for your health? Huge proponent of coming up with questions, right? You have to come up to anywhere you go in terms of like your health and wellness, you have to come in interested, come in with, a battery of questions are you have for the people taking care of you. And believe me, when that happens, we're going to have a lot of more respect for you because you have participation, you have respect for your body and creating that knowledge.
What are some of the biggest issues women come to you with?
Okay. The biggest issues that women come to me with is chronic fatigue, low energy,
Been there.
yeah,
Yes.
mood dysregulation, insomnia, brain fog, a lot of brain fog, starting on our 40s. And that's where I really like to delve into lifestyle, but also getting a battery of tests to see what really is happening with you in relation to your chemistry, your body chemistry. There are a lot of things that we can do based on just the knowledge of blood work or urine testing. It's not necessarily, it doesn't involve prescription medicine. It doesn't involve this, overhaul of everything, but just kind of like, hey, have you taken a look at the way you sleep, or what are you doing just before bed? Have you been taking a look at, your nutrition? How are you nourishing your body mentally, spiritually, but also physically? And doing those small changes really make a huge impact in women's life. There are some other disease process or diagnosis that we do need to treat based on, what we found out. But for the most part, chronic fatigue, we all have some sort of chronic fatigue, right? Not of
Especially
all of us.
starting in, I know you work with a lot of women, those listening here, starting in your 40s, your 50s, everything changes. And the things that maybe worked in your 20s and 30s, kind of your go-to, they're not working anymore.
100%.
And maybe it was working out, used to give you energy. And all of a sudden, that's not working anymore. Or the
100%.
foods that you would eat. I would have the same breakfast and I felt good, but that's not working anymore. So give us some advice when you get to that, you round that corner and you realize those things I've done forever aren't working.
Yeah.
What do?
You go and talk to a functional medicine professional. That's what you do. You have to find the one that works with you, that sees you as a person, that is listening. And functional medicine is such a broad term, but it's just basically practitioners like your physician assistant, your nutritionist, your nurse practitioner, your doctor, that is a little bit more concerned with optimizing you. Because when you go to a regular physician and all your numbers look okay for your age, but you still feel, you don't feel optimized. You feel terrible. You feel, run down. You need to find somebody that it looks at you, not just, as the whole of you, not just as a document, with some numbers. So the first thing will be to go to a wellness practitioner, somebody that does this for a living. Talk to them, give them your story. Again, come with questions, get a battery of tests that is going to give us an understanding of metabolically what's happening with you. If it's your thyroid hormone, if you're in your 40s and this is happening, you're not losing weight as you used to, you're not having the same energy. There is a hormonal cascade imbalance that is happening after we hit, 40. And it's very stark. For some women, it's really stark, the difference between, 38, 39 and 42, 43.
Yeah, and we've talked about this so many times on the podcast where for some women, it's a 10-year decline.
Yes.
And for others, it happens very fast. It certainly did for me. And so it can be so different for every person. When you're talking about the tests, if someone isn't near you, they need to go in, they have their regular primary care doctor, what tests are they looking for that you would advise or that you would do to get started down this path? And some primary care doctors will do some of this. Otherwise, I see both. I have awesome primary care at my functional medicine doctor. I ask them to talk sometimes, but what's most important to me is that we as women empower ourselves to ask the questions.
Correct.
Can you tell me about my blood work? Can you tell me about these tests? What tests are you doing? Why does that matter? But give me some of that advice.
Well, very easy blood panel that you can ask your doctor is your thyroid panel, complete thyroid panel. All right. Not just TSH, which is like the normal, little number that appears. You want to know your T3, free T3, free T4, your T3 uptake. You also want to know about, a lot of people run with subclinical anemia and they don't know. So low iron. A lot of women that come in, they have low blood count itself, or red blood cell count itself. And when you're not nourishing yourself properly, a lot of people are losing weight. When you lose weight, when you're on that journey, you're not nourishing yourself with iron, all the vitamins and minerals, and then you're going to have a subclinical anemia. And this is very easy to fix. And why is that important? Because low red blood cell count and low hemoglobin, I mean, hemoglobin is like the carrier of oxygen. If you don't have oxygen supplies in your body, you're going to feel extremely tired and fatigued, sleepy. So this is really easy things that you can ask your physician. Total blood count, red blood cell count, ferritin, which is the carrier of iron, right? You're going to ask for a complete panel of thyroid hormone. You want to know your sex hormone panel, your total testosterone, free testosterone, sex hormone binding globulin. You want to know your estradiol, progesterone ratio if you're menstruating within, that time. And if you're peri or postmenopausal, obviously at any time at that point. But those are the main carriers of metabolism. Insulin, thyroid panel, and sex hormone panels are really going to give us an idea of what's happening. And a little bit more on further testing, you want to test cortisol, salivary cortisol. And do like a 24-hour salivary cortisol test, which Dutch, I don't know if you've heard, obviously you've heard of Dutch testing, one of my favorite testing that there is. They do a very comprehensive panel of metabolites, which, are pretty much the breakdown of, or give us an idea of how our body breaks down, how our liver metabolizes all these different hormones, which in regular blood work might not be apparent, but you might be able to find a lot more information on a Dutch test that really looks at metabolites. So that will be my, my testing strategy for women when they come to me and they have all these different symptoms that on paper they're fine. They're not dying. They don't have diabetes. They don't have high blood pressure. They don't have, a chronic disease state.
But they just don't feel good.
They just don't feel good. You just don't feel like yourself. You used to have all of this energy and all of this passion. Where did it go?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the top things I hear from women, and I'm sure you do too. So they come to you, you do these tests, you do other things as well. How does all of that play into what a lot of us women worry about? And that is just not only feeling, but looking beautiful. And that all works together.
Absolutely. If you don't have the hormones, you don't have the building blocks of collagen, of bone, of hair, nails, the brightness in your eyes, the lusciousness or hydration of the lips. So it is, and obviously the skin itself, right? So the hormones, especially estrogen and progesterone, are the beauty hormones. The metabolites or the, cascade from estrogen to estradiol and estriol. The estradiol and estriol are the most beautifying hormones from estrogen. And those are the ones that make the skin thicker. The collagen is based on those two very important hormones. Progesterone is, again, beautiful hormone for beauty, plushness, but also sleep and repair. If we don't sleep, we don't repair. If we don't repair, we decay. Correct, right? Progesterone and estrogen really work together for bone structure. So when we're aging, we lose the hormones, our face becomes smaller, our skin starts to sag a little more because it doesn't have, again, the, bolters kind of like giving it structure. So there you go. Now, testosterone is what keeps our libido, right? The energy, the sexiness, the way you portray yourself, the way you go around life, which in some extent is also makes you look good, how you present yourself and how you feel about yourself, right?
I think
also,
a lot of women don't think about testosterone. We think of that
and it is such
as a male hormone, but it's so important.
I love to bust the myth of women shouldn't take testosterone. I mean, some of my brightest looking patients and brightness from inside, not necessarily from the outside, just from the outside, but some of my shining stars are on testosterone supplementation. And I always say, it's not to make you look like a man. It is to replenish what we've been losing. Women are supposed to have 10% testosterone, 10% of the testosterone that men have. And look at men and what happens to them when their testosterone, depletes. Like they get the beer belly, they get low mood, they lose their libido. So they lose their want for sex. erectile issues, etc. And for us women, it's the very same thing. We just have it in a lower amount, but we still experience loss of libido. We still experience, sexual dysfunction in a way, which is so important for everything that we do. Confidence, just feeling good enough, just feeling prepared for life, energetic, participating. So a lot of that comes from testosterone. So yeah, I mean, the marriage between beauty and hormone health, it's one. There's no difference. It's just one. It's just really understanding how the hormones play a part in your beauty, which I think there's a huge disconnect out there, and nobody's really talking about that. Everybody talks about feeling good and using hormone optimization for feeling good, but how can hormone optimization be used to look good, not just feeling inside?
Well, you think about it, and if you don't feel good, you're not walking with your head held high.
Absolutely.
You're kind of drooping and
Yeah.
don't want to leave the house. And
Yeah.
so, it all works together. Can we talk about kind of the natural supplementation of some of these things? I know there are ways, and we hear a lot about HRT therapy or hormone replacement therapy, HRT pellets and things like this, but are there some natural ways, women listening today and they're thinking, yeah, that's me? Are there some supplementation ways, foods and things that can help with this, or does it need to be treated by a medical professional, a functional doctor?
It definitely does. And it is just a very large spectrum, because you might be having some symptoms that they're not changing your life as a whole. They're just annoying, like you can't sleep good. So I don't put people on medication because they cannot sleep. I don't put people on hormone replacement because they cannot sleep. Those patients will be better served with supplementation. So what kind of supplementation? 5-HTP, ashwagandha, holy basil, for energy and for just mental clarity, lion's mane mushrooms. I'm a very big proponent of mushroom therapy, and to utilize this therapy for keeping people away from, hormone replacement. So,
okay, I want to go into that a minute, because we hear a lot online, social media, other places about mushroom therapy. It's not something that I have talked about here. So explain how it helps people and what someone might go look for if they want to try that.
So I am no expert on mushroom medication, on mushroom supplementation. I am going to speak on my own personal experience, and I'm going to mention a supplement that really changed my life and changed my husband's also life in a way. It is called Magic Mind. I don't sell it. I just take it. And this supplement has really impacted me is because I was suffering from subclinical mood liability, or I wouldn't call it depression. I would call it just low mood in the mornings. And I was looking for something that will help me, because I didn't want to go on to, take hormone restoration. I was, 39, 38 years old. So not there yet, but I was feeling chronic fatigue, run down. I was feeling just low. And the ingredients of this supplement really spoke to me. And it's a blend of B vitamins, vitamin D3, ashwagandha, holy basil, lion's mane mushroom. Mushrooms have been, a source of and a source of intelligence for a very long time. We just literally know the tip of the iceberg when it comes to that. I use them right now for myself when it comes to energy and when it comes to focus. So lion's mane, big proponent, look it up, make it that a new form of supplementation. We always hear about the vitamins, right? Like the vitamin B3, B12, the vitamin D, all of these different vitamins. Now, mushrooms are the new vitamins in a way, and the faster people get into this concept of, intelligence of millions of years underground and bring it into their own life, the results are incredible. So I started taking this very small shot of mushroom and different vitamins, and I swear, Natalie, The first day I took it, gone. That low level depression, gone. I used to call it my little gray cloud, just going
Yeah.
around, just reminding
Yeah.
me of things. And all of us go around like that, I swear, in some level. And I took this mushroom elixir and it went away. It just went away.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna look into that because
Yeah.
it's been on my feed now for months, especially like mushroom coffees and things
Yes.
like that. So it's one I need to dive deeper into. I'm glad you've told
100%.
us about it today.
And also, I'm a very huge proponent of psychedelic therapy, psilocybin therapy for spiritual connection, for clarity, for finding purpose. And this is a concept that women are not really, again, understanding because there's not enough women spaces to talk about
I
psilocybin
think there are a
therapy.
lot of people who are very afraid of that, and yet a lot of the science and a lot of things we've read, especially for those who've dealt with some really deep, even hidden trauma or
Yeah.
PTSD, like
Yeah.
reach different parts of the brain. It's very fascinating.
It is extremely fascinating.
Other things that I know in your clinic, you're doing a lot of different things, especially on the aesthetic side. We talked about getting to the root of things so that you feel prettier. But do you think there's a more natural way that we can aesthetically help ourselves?
Yeah.
I'm doing some of these kind of more alternative things with like castor oil and, facial massage and some of those things. But talk about natural aesthetics.
Natural aesthetics it depends what you mean by natural, right? Because everything that we've created comes from a natural source. So if you're referring to stepping away from the Botox and the fillers and all of these different injectables and things, then you have to look at skincare in a way. Obviously, skincare can be very wonderful and very natural. It can be very simple to include in your lifestyle. It doesn't have to be like a 10-step routine or anything like that. There are like very specific things that you should have on your little, toolbox to improve naturally your beauty. The number one, I will say SPF. SPF is just the basis of protecting your skin, protecting sun damage. Most of the patients that I see in my clinic come in because they have some level of pigmentation, some level of skin laxity, even when they're young. I'm seeing younger patients come in starting to, hey, I'm seeing the damage that here in South Florida I'm getting. So what can I do? Well, number one is sun protection. Use big hats, big, sunglasses, and protect your face. Reapply sunscreen if you're going to be out there for more than 3 hours. That's number one. Number two is vitamin C. Vitamin C is also a wonderful vitamin for beautification. It is a vitamin that is an antioxidant. So when you put it as a serum, it helps to repair the damage from the sun. So all the oxidative stress that the sun has caused, vitamin C can pick up all those oxidative, molecules or oxidized molecules and take them out of the skin so that your body can metabolize it and get rid of it. So vitamin C is very good. Hyaluronic acid, a very good serum for hydration and
I
suppleness
love
of the
that every
skin,
day.
right? And we also want to do a little bit of retinol, vitamin A or tretinoin for people. Again, vitamin A, it is incredible for exfoliation of the skin and building that collagen. We'll know it for like the rapid turnover of skin. So those are some of the major, like the three basic things that we should be doing no matter what. Now, if you want to get fancy and add all these things, mask, peptides, I don't disagree, but let's have the basis, covered. And then I am a big proponent of facial massage. I think massage for the face is extremely good. It helps you depuff. It helps you to remove a lot of lymph and just collection of fluid in your face, especially under the eye, right? Especially by exactly on the nose area, especially on the preauricular area right in here. We carry a lot of pressure and a lot of our intensity of the day on our jaw, right? So just releasing those muscles and really taking care of that area can provide just rejuvenation of the skin. And then never forget about the neck. We always think about the face, right? That's our face forward. How about the neck? The neck is like the forgotten, piece of the puzzle that really gives out your age if we don't take care of it. So doing that lymphatic drainage and then really carrying down to your collarbone, massaging those lymph nodes, getting the water out of there can help depuff you and make you look that much brighter. So skincare, massage, big proponent of them both.
Yeah, all of those things. My new favorite, I've just loved this. I use an organic dark castor oil and that massage at night. It is so nice. Like I almost can't sleep without putting that, especially on my lips and your body just soaks it in. Yeah. Oh, so much we could continue to talk about, but we've covered a lot. Thank you so much. Where can people find you and what do you offer for those who aren't down in that South Florida area? Do they need to come see you there?
All right. So you can find us and my practice at 1313 West Boynton Beach Boulevard, Suite R- in Boynton Beach, Florida. Zip code is 33426. You can find us on Instagram. We're very mostly focus on Instagram right now. The handle is at live_vibrant_med spa. And I do have two things that I want to share with your audience because you're always giving so much value to them that I'm like compelled to do the very same thing. And good. I do have a wonderful guide where I speak and talk about what we discussed today, the marriage of beauty and health, the marriage of exterior beauty and internal health and how those worlds collide. So what can you do from the outside? So when to start Botox, what is the skincare, when to start microneedling, when to start all of these different non-surgical treatments to keep you looking young and beautiful and well into your, 60s and 70s. And how to go about hormone optimization, which lab test to ask for, what to talk to your doctor about, where to buy the supplementation, the marriage of bringing weight loss and weight management into it as well. So how can we healthily, achieve weight management, not even loss, but just managing your weight after a certain age? It's extremely, it really adds a lot of pressure to women, just because of the hormones, right? So that guide gives you a little peek into which strategies you have to implement in order to optimize your beauty and your health. And that is available when you DM me the word vibrant into my, into our Instagram. I will send it automatically to your inbox.
Wonderful.
Once you give me your email.
I think that is so beneficial because sometimes, we go to the doctor and then you have that pressure. It's like, in here, I have my half hour, whatever it is, but I need the things. What am I supposed to ask?
Correct.
I try to come with my notes and then I come home and I realize, I forgot something. So having that guide.
Exactly. And the other thing that I'm doing for, your listeners that I normally do for my patients and for my coaching clients is a transformational call. So I sit with you, we call it the Live Vibrant Transformational Call or session, and we sit together for a good 60 minutes, just like this, just like what we're doing right now. And we come up with a plan, a beauty and wellness plan for you based on your goals, based on where you are today, your lifestyle, and how we can fit this wonderful puzzle into your lifestyle. So the changes that you're going to make are hopefully going to be not so extravagant, but are going to be instrumental in making you look and feel your best. So 60 minutes transformational call, and then the guide. It's one of the simplest way of coming up with a strategy moving forward.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Nelly. It's great to talk with you. Appreciate your expertise.
Absolutely. My pleasure. So excited to be here soon. And, talk to your listeners and see how I can provide value.
Thank you for joining the Natalie Tysdal podcast. You can follow along on Instagram and at natalietysdal.com. Subscribe to the show to catch every new episode and leave a review so I can continue to bring you fresh content. See you next week.